Stuart, first of all, how's the squad looking? Anybody back? Anybody out?
Well, we've obviously got the injuries that we spoke about last week, and just a little bit more detail coming on them. We might have a chance of one or two coming back, a couple of short-term ones. We're hoping to go on the pitch today, maybe Friday. But obviously from that point of view, that will determine how many minutes they can play on the pitch with regards how much training time they've had. Probably a wee bit of an update just was on Dan Casey. That was the one, the kind of fallout for the Ross County game, and we weren't quite sure how long he'd be out for. It looks like it'll be a kind of 6 to 8 week injury for Dan, more kind of ankle ligaments than the fracture we maybe first thought. By the way, it's obviously another pretty extensive injury, which is a disappointment to somebody that's played a lot of game time for us and done well for us by and large over the piece. So no, I think I would be hopeful that we get a look at potentially Paul McGinn and Callum Butcher being there or thereabouts this weekend. Whether they're fully fit to take part, we're going to have to assess over the next couple of days. Dan Casey's absolutely out.
And obviously you get Harry Payton back, so you'd have a few more decisions to make this week. It was pretty much there were many decisions to make last week.
Yeah, I think you're right. Last week was, probably the one area of the park that we had a few options was in the striker position, but everywhere else was almost self-explanatory. Whereas this week, again, whether that disrupts what you're actually going to do for the start, but what it certainly does is it gives us a couple of opportunities to change things in other areas of the park, which is always good. And that's not to say with the young lads that you're not thinking about changing things. Sometimes there's two or three that are doing really, really well on a daily basis for us, but there's also two or three in there that are doing well, and we're seeing progression. But it's really important that I still get that right in terms of when I put them on the park and whether I feel that they're equipped and ready at that minute to actually play in the game.
Can I ask you about Davor? We're going to speak to him a wee while. Obviously he had to be very, very patient. I'd imagine he's had to adapt to the physicality of the Scottish football as well, but the way he battled last week and just his attitude as well just seemed to maybe typify what you've got, the kind of togetherness, the spirit.
Yeah, no, I was delighted with Davor. The two that probably you single out from that narrative would be Davor and Georgie, where game time's been limited. And as we always keep stressing, it's important that players are impressing us during the week, and guys that are giving us that kind of conundrum, that headache of who starts in a game. And I think it's fair to say that these two guys have shown plenty in recent weeks, and always the most important bit is what you do when you're given the opportunity to play. I think sometimes I talk about in football, I want to play on a Saturday, but all we ever have at times is that evidence of what you do during the week to make sure that you earn the right to play and that you pitch yourself above somebody else that's playing in the position. And as I say, these guys, it is a process of months and weeks sometimes to bed guys into Scottish football and the surroundings and making sure they're up to standard. But I think what we have to say about those two in particular is I thought they were excellent against St Johnstone. You're right, Davor's battling qualities in the middle of the park, being that disciplined one that sort of sat in the middle of the pitch and broke up play, and we kind of relied that when we attacked that we still had that protection behind the ball, which was good. And then obviously Georgie, we've known that Georgie has a terrific left foot. We know that he's got all kinds of quality, but I think probably what impressed me most was his early defensive actions, what he done early in the game against St Johnstone. Because he's a young lad, he's still learning aspects of the game. I think the one that comes most natural to him is the offensive part of it, and then obviously through time and over recent weeks and months we've been trying to work away, just trying to continue to educate him and help him on that defensive aspect. But I thought that was at a real good level for us on Saturday, and that's a welcome boost as well when you've got another two players in there that look as if they're fully fit, they're fully functioning, and they look as if they're playing with a degree of confidence.
Really tough away game this week, Stuart. St Mirren, I think maybe Rangers the only team to beat them at their ground this season. What do you expect from them? Exactly
that. We've been there already this season in the Cup. We had a right good go to try and get ourselves back into it. I think we conceded from a wonder strike. We were playing well at the time. St Mirren were playing well. and it is exactly that. I think everybody knows that it's one of the tougher venues to go. I just cast my mind back to their record last season, and then again this season. It's you don't get anything for free there. They don't lose too many games. They've obviously got a formula of being really competitive in Paisley, and we're going to have to go and try and find a solution to that. I watched their game against Ross County last week. They created a number of chances. They possibly could have scored a few more goals, and they've got a pretty settled team. I think when you're winning games and you're picking up points, that bit becomes relatively easy, keeping players fit. But no, I think having played each other twice already this season, there's a fair understanding of what they are and what they do. They do a lot of aspects of the game well, which then sort of points that finger towards ourselves to make sure that we're at our absolute best to be competitive in the game, because it's certainly not one of those games that you turn up and you expect just to sort of drift through it. You're going to have to earn everything you get, and ultimately we're going to have to play with a level of confidence and quality as well for us to get anything out of the game.
It's a place that you tend to take a lot of fans as well, so you should be able to get a decent away following and support.
Yeah, again, I relate back to earlier in the season in the cup game. I think I can't quite remember what the number was. I don't think we were far away from sort of 700-800, maybe slightly more than that in actual fact, in the cup game, which was remarkable. But that's a bit that would help us if we can generate that support and that environment behind one of the goals. Then undoubtedly that can be a factor that can help the players. But again, it's that can be a big aspect of it. It's our job to go and make sure that we start the game properly and we give ourselves something to think about in the game. Last thing you want is that sort of Ross County type performance where you feel as if it drifts away from you in the early stages of the game. So more so than the kind of crowd, more so than St Mirren, the focus for us in recent days has very much been about how we can try and affect the game and how we can sort of give ourselves a chance to be in the second half and be in reasonable shape, that we can try and make twists and changes that have got us back into games. But if we're kind of parallel, if we're level, or even we find ourselves slightly ahead, how can we make those changes sort of equate to what would be the 3 points that we strive for?
Does it feel like a win's coming?
Again, that's talk is cheap. You know, when I watch the players through the week and when I watch things that go on run about here, yeah, absolutely. But most importantly for me, it's how we start the game. I thought we started the game pretty well. Thought we were combative. Thought we played in the front foot. Thought we were well organised against St Johnstone. So I absolutely thought a win was coming there. Again, you look at quality of chances and everything else. But if I relate it back to St Johnstone game, you look at every stat and everything going in the game. I've watched the game back. We were the better team in the game, generally. I know St Johnstone got a couple of chances once they're 1-0 ahead and you start to maybe throw caution at the wind a little bit, but I thought in general in the game we were the team that was most in control and that looked most likely to win the game of football. So I think if we can reproduce that with a little bit more, I think we're going to need a little bit more. You always do when you get away from home. Then of course I believe we can win a game, but I've felt that for a long time now. It is that ability to deliver when it really counts, and it's that ability to deal with adversity, because there's ultimately going to be that in the game when you play against the St Mirren team, fully confidence, really strong at home with a good group of players. Then you're going to face some real uphill battles. It's about how you face that. But do I believe we can win the game? Of course I do. I have felt that for every single game, and hopefully that's not just that naive confidence. It's having a genuine belief in the guys that you work with every day.
Thanks, Stuart.
Cheers.
Liam Kelly maybe not had his best game in a Motherwell jersey the last couple of games. Is Aston pushing Liam for a place at the moment? Just with
No, listen, again, there's always a decision to make. You know, we've changed a lot of things in the team. We've chopped and changed our defensive setup, sometimes through choice, more often than not through choice, you know, in terms of the injuries and suspensions. Midfield area is the same, wing backs, strikers. Liam, by his own admission, would tell you that he made a mistake. He made a mistake for the goal. He's the first guy to acknowledge it. There's no point in me sitting here going over old ground. I always believe that when a player sticks his his hand up to mistakes and errors, then then how much can you keep going over it? What I would also allude to was the save that he makes just after it. I think Chris Kane goes through and goal and he makes a stop with his feet, which is an important save for us ultimately to get a point out of the game as well. And what everybody wants to do is just jump on the negatives and latch on to negatives. If you asked Liam, does he believe that he could have done better for a goal against St Johnstone, a goal against Ross County? Absolutely could. But if we cast our mind back a couple of weeks ago, he was man of the match and celebrated at Celtic Park and all of that as well. So I've got full confidence and full belief in Liam Kelly. There's a reason why he's an international goalkeeper. There's a reason why he's had some real good spells at this football club and why he's the captain of the football club. And as always, it's with goalkeepers that's highlighted. And when people are down, we love to kick them and all the rest of it. So no, from my side of things, if you're asking me a question, do I believe in him? 100%. I believe in him 100%. But that's not to detract for the fact that I believe that we've also got a good number 2 goalkeeper in Aston. The one thing Aston doesn't have at this point is match experience. He had some game time in the Viaplay Cup at the start of the season, but out with that he's been limited in his game experience. But I think what we see every day in Aston as well, that he is pushing Liam and that he is in a position where we believe that he could play in a Premiership game. So in terms of selection and everything, I'm quite clearly not going to sit and say anything about that, but I believe that we've got two really good goalkeepers at the football club, and we'll work towards making the correct decision come Saturday.